What's going on, Party Chat Sports? Welcome back to the channel. It's one of your hosts, Gill, and you've got another dose of me here for you today as we kick off your week. Welcome back. Today, I have, of course, another edition of your Monday morning drive where we take a look back at the games from yesterday's slate. So let's get right into it. Let's get going with your week 3 Monday morning drive. Kicking off this Monday morning drive for you, the Colts-Titans. Again, the Colts offense just seems to look like this Colts team looks legit. I don't know if it's going to be a flash in the pan, because remember a couple years ago where Sam Darnold, his first year in Carolina, it's like, wow, MVP candidate, the Panthers might be for real, and then he came back down to earth. I don't know if we're going to see that, or if Daniel Jones really just need to get away from the New York Giants and into Shane Steichen's system. I don't know if this Colts team is legit yet, but if you're a Colts fan, have as much fun as you can. Jonathan Taylor scored 3 rushing touchdowns against the Titans in a 41-20 victory. So I don't know. Like, the run game looks good. Daniel Jones looks serviceable at the very least, and he made a couple big plays. This Colts team might be legit, and the Titans just look like they didn't even want to be there. And that's one thing that Michael Pittman had said after the game. He said that the Titans looked sluggish in pregame. They had no energy, and the quote was, "They don't want to play today," is a takeaway that him and some of the other teammates on the Colts had. So the Titans, that's a bad look. If your players are going out there just pretty much collecting a paycheck, it's a big indictment on the head coach. And I know I'm not the biggest Brian Callahan fan, but that's a death sentence. Once you lose the locker room and you get the players that are like, all right, just another day at the office, like, that's where you really start to lose your job. It's not always, the wins and losses. If you lose a bunch of games, but they're close, and it's like, all right, you can keep saying, like, all right, we're there, we need this, we need that. But if, the other team, if the Colts are saying they were looking at the other team, they were looking at the Titans pregame, and they were just kind of moping around, they're just kind of sluggish. The other team was saying that they don't want to be here, and then you lose 41-20? Yeah, that's a big indictment on you as a head coach. So, Titans got a lot of problems. Colts don't have any problems yet. Their magical season continues through 3 weeks. I thought Cam Ward looked okay. He had a bad pick 6, but there's a lot. I'm just not sure what we can take away from Cam Ward yet. So, Colts, Titans 41-20. Steelers 21-14 against the Patriots in Foxborough. The Steelers they forced 5 turnovers at defense. While it doesn't look the greatest, there's a lot of holes, there's a lot of question marks. They did force 5 turnovers. A couple fumbles from Ramondre Stevenson and Antonio Gibson. Like, the running backs couldn't keep the ball from touching the ground. Drake May had an iffy day. The thing that stood out to me, though, was, like, if your defense scores 5 turnovers, you'd expect the offense to put up a decent amount of points. The Steelers' offense only scored 3 touchdowns total in this game. I'm not sure how many of those came off of turnovers. But overall, I was just very unimpressed with the Steelers' offense. 64 total rushing yards, 139 passing yards. If this is a team, you brought in Aaron Rodgers to get you to a Super Bowl. This is not a team. I'm looking at this team right now, and I just don't see. I know they're 2-1. I do not see a championship team right now. And, we're only 3 weeks in. That can change. But 64 rushing yards is not going to win you a lot of games. And the fact that they're not playing that complimentary football does have me a little bit concerned. The Patriots, they got down there. Ramondre Stevenson dropped the ball in the end zone, or before he crossing the plane. Like, they had momentum at times, but the Patriots just are not a good team. They're just not a good team right now. The entire AFC East outside of Buffalo is not that good. Sticking with the AFC East, the Jets went down to Tampa, and the score was 29-27. The Buccaneers won. The Jets had a blocked field goal late that WMD, Will McDonald, ran in for a touchdown, but this game just wasn't that close. Going into the fourth quarter, they trailed 26-3, 26-6. The Jets overcame a 17-point fourth quarter deficit. Like, they went in the fourth quarter trailing 17. And yeah, it was good for them to be able to come back. And that was good in the fourth quarter. But it was a lot of sloppiness. The defense attack, the tackling, and the pursuit angles. Like, there's a lot of work that needs to be done defensively. Steve Wilks, there's a lot of question marks on his play calling. Is he really? And I understood the hire at the time. I liked the hire at the time. But diving a little deeper into Steve Wilks and why he's bounced around, maybe he's just not the guy. The other thing, too, to keep in mind, though, for Jets fans in general, is if you remember Robert Saleh's first year with the Jets, that defense was not good. It was not a good defense. It really didn't take that leap until 2022. 2021 was not good. So if you want to have hope and cling on to something like that, there's your chance. Overall, the Bucs offense really started clicking and coming to life there in the second quarter. There was a ton of penalties. The Buccaneers, I think, committed 10 penalties alone in the first quarter. I know there was it was 10 combined penalties at one point. The Buccaneers had 8. There was a ton of penalties. That first two drives for the Bucs, just a lot of flags. There was laundry all over the place. They cleaned it up. Offense started clicking a little bit, and Emeka Egbuka had a couple nice grabs. Hopefully, I don't know the status of Mike Evans yet, but he hobbled off the field. He ran right, or couldn't even run. He limped right into the locker room in the fourth quarter. Is there a... rumors are saying possibly a hamstring injury. So we'll see what... Hopefully Mike Evans isn't out too long. But in the meantime, hopefully Emeka Egbuka can get to 100% so that they have somebody. Buccaneers win that one 29-27 after a Chase McLaughlin game-winning field goal. Raiders, Commanders 41 over the Raiders, 24 points to them. And half of the Commanders' offense, it was not the same offense as last week by any means. It was almost half the Commanders' offense was different from a week ago, and yet they put up 201 rushing yards, 174 of those in the first half. It was just a dominant performance on the ground for the Commanders. And the Raiders offense, I was really excited to watch this Raiders offense. I thought they'd be feisty, they'd be fun. They had the pieces, but the offensive line, Gino got sacked 5 times. He didn't turn the ball over. He didn't throw any interceptions. But 5 times he was sacked in this game. So the offensive line, it's not creating holes for Genty, who had 17 rushes and 63 yards. They need a lot of work. The Raiders do. And I don't know, the Genty thing, it's hard to read because the line just isn't giving him lanes. They're not even giving him, Genty in college was able to make this work. All right, he's barely getting this right now. So he's not getting a lot. On the plus side, I guess, for the Raiders, Trey Tucker quietly had a really good day that went under the radar. 8 catches, 145 yards, and 3 touchdowns. That is a... So for you fantasy people out there, if you scored 3 touchdowns, if your league counts a receiving touchdown to 6 points, if it's a PPR, so 8 catches, plus... So 145 yards, that'd be 14 and a half points. So 40 and a half points. About 40 points for Trey Tucker in fantasy this week for perspective there. Huge day for him. I think all those came in the fourth quarter. It was, or maybe they didn't all come in the fourth quarter, but it was not a good game for the Raiders. The Commanders really started separating themselves in that second quarter, and then by the second half, they were still game over. It was going to be very difficult on that. So Commanders get the commanding victory, 41-24, and I hate myself for saying that. Rams-Eagles. This one looked like it was going to be a blowout. It looked like the Rams were in total control. They were up 26-7. Heading into the fourth? I think it was there was still time in the third when the Eagles started coming back. Rams led 26-7. The Eagles offense didn't look like anything. I think what Dylan had said was, wow, the Eagles really can't do anything when you're not tush-pushing it 7 times. And that seemed to be the case. We have to have a tush-push conversation, which I'm sure we'll have this week on the pod. I'm sure that's going to come up. Not going to do that today. Don't have the time today. But then the Eagles just come out of nowhere with 26 unanswered points, including a Jordan Davis blocked field goal that he took to the house to end the game. Stafford started strong, but finished 19 of 33, 196 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 one crucial interception. Hurts statistically didn't have a bad day. 21 of 32, 226 yards, 3 touchdowns. And A.J. Brown had his best game of the season so far, but most of this came in the second half. 6 catches, 109 yards, and a touchdown. So that Eagles offense really sparked. It was like that first touchdown to Dallas Goedert in the third quarter really got them going. It's like once that happens, it's like, oh, wow, we know how to score again. So Eagles, again, get a win over the Rams in the final moments. I was really disappointed in the Rams. I picked the Eagles to win, but I was disappointed in the Rams because, again, they were up 26-7, and it looked like they had this taken care of. All they had to do was, put on cruise control and go, and they decided not to do that. So, really bad breakdown there from the Rams. Falcons got owned by the Panthers. Panthers with their first win of the season, and it was a dominating win, 30-0 over Michael Penix and the Falcons. Michael Penix had a pick 6 that didn't look good, and he just did not look good in this game. 18 of 36, 172 yards, no touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Bryce Young didn't have the greatest game, but they did enough to win, ultimately. He was kind of what I wrote down. 16 of 24, 121 yards, nothing special. And the Panthers got out to a 10-0 lead at halftime. It was just kind of like a slugfest. Like, there's nothing to really harp on. And then the Panthers scored 10 points in the third, 10 points in the fourth, and that was just kind of all she wrote. So, good win for the Panthers. Not really a... McMillan had a really nice catch. He's coming along, which is nice to see. It was just 2 bad teams is kind of my takeaway, and the Falcons were ultimately the far worst team in this one. Speaking of bad, terrible blowout losses, the Vikings 48-10 over the Bengals. Remember the line on this one? We were talking about the line last week on the pod. It was like 42.5. And we're sitting there, like the 3 of us, Dylan, Drew, and I, we're like, oh, that should be able to hit. These 2 teams should be able to score that many points combined. Cam didn't really think. He thought the under was going to hit. He thought there was going to be more defense into this game. And he did mention, the Vikings defense was going to make things difficult for the Bengals. And I'm still like, yeah, but 23-21, doable. I put it in the parlay of the week. The Vikings hit the over by themselves. The Bengals didn't do jack squat. 48-10. This was the Isaiah Rodgers game. 2 touchdowns for him in this game. He's a defensive player, by the way. He forced 3 out of 5 of the turnovers for the Vikings. It was a really great game if you're Isaiah Rodgers and the Vikings defense, and they're just the Vikings in general. If you're the Bengals, you're looking like, man, we thought we could win with Jake Browning, huh? We were dead wrong. Dead wrong. Holy crap. And I don't want to continue talking about that game because when you win 48-10, there's really not much else to say. The Bengals looked terrible, and the Vikings took advantage of everything. Isaiah Rodgers, have a game, man. Defensive player of the week, and just player of the week, really, as of now. We'll see what happens Sunday night, Monday night, but I don't know how you're going to replicate that. The Jaguars-Texans. Jaguars getting the win 17-10 in the final moments. It was a bad game. There's a lot of bad games. A lot of not good teams, it felt like this week. But Brian Thomas Jr. came up clutch with a 46-yard catch that set up the Travis Etienne touchdown that won the game for the Jaguars. The Texans just do not look good, especially offensively. And we talked about this a couple different times. Their offensive line is just shot. It's kind of like the Raiders. Like, there's nobody there. It was not a great game overall, but each team did score in the fourth quarter, which allowed them to get in a spot to potentially win this game. Texans had a chance late, couldn't convert, and now I think we're reaching the point, and Dylan mentioned this in our group chat earlier, actually. At what point do we start questioning if Stroud's the guy? If there's issues with him, he's a problem. He was 25 of 38, 204 yards and 1 touchdown, 2 picks. I think we got to start asking that CJ Stroud question, if he's the guy or not. And that's probably going to come up this week. So stay tuned for that here at Party Chat Sports when we talk and look preview week 4. But Jaguars 17-10. I got to get through the rest of these pretty quick. But overall, not a great game. The Browns, who would have thought that the Browns were going to get their first win of the year against the red-hot Green Bay Packers? The Packers' offense did not look good. It looked like they came back down to life. Both defenses are legit, though. Like, these two, this might be two of the best defenses in the game. If only they had an offense that could complement them. Especially the Browns. Just imagine if the Browns had a quarterback. Imagine if they had a quarterback. It'd be really interesting to see what these two teams would look like with actual good offensive play. And the Packers have had their moments, so I don't want to beat them to death too much. But we are all still questioning what love is. We don't know. And I came away with more questions than answers for Jordan Love after this one. But the defenses I have no questions on. I'm like, all right, cool. These are two of the best defenses in the game. Andre Smite, I don't know how to pronounce the kicker's name for the Browns. He hit the game-winning walk-off 55-yard field goal. And all the Browns' points, they scored 13 points in this game. All of them came in the final 3:45. So it was an exciting for the Browns fans that were there. I know I got a buddy that was there. It was electric. Final 3:45, Browns score. Then they pick off Jordan Love, score again, and then they get the ball with enough time to march down and get the game-winning field goal. So good, congrats to the Browns and the fans for getting the first win of the year. Packers walked away with a lot more questions than answers. Probably the best game of the week is next. Chargers, Broncos in LA. Yeah. 23-20 for the Chargers, getting a game-winning field goal at the end. Broncos, back-to-back weeks are hurt by the field goal, man. It's like death by... they continue to take these blows. Last week against the Colts, this week against the Chargers. Each team did go on different runs. Like, the Broncos went on a 17-point run at one point. The Chargers then came back. And, like, the third quarter, the Broncos outscored the Chargers 10-3. And the fourth quarter, the Chargers outscored the Broncos 10-3. Like, it was a very much back-and-forth game. Justin Herbert's aura, bled through his shirt and got onto everybody else for the Chargers. It's like Quentin Johnston is balling out. Keenan Allen had a fantastic catch on an amazing play by Justin Herbert, by the way. And Herbert, he dropped 300 yards passing in this game. So, unlimited aura for Herbert. And now the Chargers are solely in first place of the AFC West. And they might be in first place in the AFC, actually. They might be legit. They just went through their entire division so far. So we'll see what they look like once they leave the West. But, how can you not like what you're seeing from the Chargers and Justin Herbert right now. It looks really good and promising. And even the Broncos, like, the Broncos could be a wild card team again. They're 1-2. They've had a couple tough breaks, but their 2 losses. Last second field goal to the Colts. They might be legit. I don't know. And last second field goal to the Chargers. They might be legit. I think they are legit. So they're not bad losses. Bo Nix does have some things to clean up, but also he had a really good pass to Courtland Sutton that helped get the Broncos rolling. Like, I think the Broncos will be fine. They're just in a tough division. Like, you're with the Chiefs. You're with the Chargers. We don't know what the Chiefs are. This is being recorded before the Sunday Night Football game, so I don't know what the Chiefs look like tonight. So, we'll see. I think the Broncos do end up being a wild card team, though. I feel that's kind of my gut here after 3 weeks. Seahawks got a 44-13 win over the Saints, and this game was really over from the beginning. 21 points for the Seahawks in the first quarter, added 17 more in the second. The Saints didn't want to be there. It was like the Titans against the Colts, just didn't want to be there. The Seahawks did get a punt return. They did get a punt return for a touchdown in the first quarter, and from there it was really like, all right, bye-bye. What more can you really say? The Saints might be the worst team. They are the worst team in the league. And the Seahawks took full advantage of that. The 49ers got a game-winning field goal from Eddie Pinheiro against the Cardinals, 16-15. Mac Jones led the game-winning drive. It was like they started inside their own 10. Maybe it was inside their own 20. Maybe it was a touchback there at the end. It was like, you know what? I'm over doing that. It was like they started at the 20 or 25. But Mac Jones, a couple quick passes, got him in field goal range pretty quick. It was an awful game, this one. The Cardinals don't look legit. The 49ers, you can tell, are very hurt and don't have people there. But the two teams did combine for 19 fourth quarter points, so that's something. Including a safety, which I saw the safety. I'm like, oh, well, that's a perfect way for this game to go. It was awful anyway, so Cardinals unable to really do much after getting the safety, and their own damn fault. And the last game here for your Monday morning drive, the Cowboys give Ben Johnson and the Chicago Bears their first win. The Bears win 31-14. Yikes. This kind of felt like what Bears fans have been advertised. They saw a lot of trickery. They saw a lot of offense. 385 yards total offense for the Bears. So Ben Johnson getting cute with some different things, had a flea flicker, and I saw that flea flicker hit, and it was a beautiful pass, everything. And from there, I was like, oh, the Bears are here. We'll see what they look like moving forward. The Cowboys offense just really never got clicking. Dak was 31 of 46, 251 yards, a touchdown, 2 picks. Not a great game for him, but Caleb Williams, he tied for his career high passing touchdowns with 4. So, really good game for the Bears overall. 31-14 win. Ben Johnson gets his first win as a head coach. And again, it just felt like this is what Bears fans have been advertised. Like, the offense was going to be fun. There was a few things that I'm sure Caleb would like back, some passes that, he dirted a couple balls. But overall, when your offense has nearly 400 yards in the NFL, you're not going to complain too much. So 31-14 for the Bears over the Cowboys. And quick rundown of all the finals from week 3. Colts over Titans 41-20. Steelers over Patriots 21-14. Buccaneers over the Jets 29-27. Commanders over the Raiders 41-24. Eagles win 33-26 against the Rams. The Panthers shut out the Falcons 30-0. Vikings 48-10 over the Bengals. Texans lose to the Jaguars 17-10. The Browns get the first win of the year 13-10 over the Packers. Chargers 23-20 win over the Broncos. Seahawks 44-13 over Saints. 49ers 16-15 over Cardinals. And then, of course, like I just mentioned, the Bears getting their first win in the Ben Johnson era, 31-14 over the Dallas Cowboys. And that's going to be it for your Week 3 Monday morning drive. Make sure you stay tuned to the feed this week. We'll get a Week 4 preview up. We'll get another parlay. We'll see what else we possibly get out there. And if you want more content, if you have suggestions, if there's things you want us to do, please just let us know. Let us know in the comments what you like, what you don't like. We'll take the criticism. You know, we're completely fine with it. We'll live. All right, we got thick skin. Let us know. We appreciate the feedback. So let us know. Again, as I always say, we are anywhere and everywhere on YouTube, TikTok, Twitter, wherever you get your podcasts, anywhere and everywhere. All at Party Chat Sports. Until next time, we'll see you this week. Peace.